Hello, welcome to this English lesson, level B2. Today we're going to be working with Unit 7 of the B2 level, which is the Summit 1 student book. Okay, so Unit 7, it's about advertising. Oh, sorry, my name is Teacher Elisa. What happened? What happened? Wait. Okay, so Unit 7 is about advertising and customers. Okay, so we have some advertising here, etc. But we're going to be focusing on the vocabulary and grammar. All right. So let's jump at it. So we have this vocabulary. It says browse, bargain hunt, window shop, haggle, bargain, shop around, comparison shop. So browse, take one's time looking at goods in a shop without necessarily want to buy anything. Eso lo hacemos muchísimo, ¿no? Es cuando browse, es cuando estás viendo sin comprar, ¿ok? Bargain hunt. Look around for goods that one can buy cheaply for or for less than their usual price, ¿no? Bargain hunt. Hunt, pues es caza, en casa de cazar. Entonces, pues obviamente es cuando estás cazando en el sentido de que estás buscando productos que puedan salir más baratos de lo normal, ¿no? Window shop is just looking at goods in store windows without going inside or intending to buy them, ¿no? Window shopping también se le dice. Pues es simplemente ver pues, sin ninguna intención de comprar. Haggle bargain, discuss the amount of money one is willing to pay for something. Eso ya es, haggle bargain es cuando estás ya con el comprador y quieres decirle cuánto es lo menos, decimos en México. Shop around, comparison shop, go to different stores in order to compare the prices. Well, that we do it a lot, right? Vas a visitar varias tiendas para checar precio y calidad y decidir por alguno. So that's the vocabulary we're going to be using. And we also have some readings here related to the grammar. The grammar is about passive forms of gerunds and infinitive, ¿ok? Gerunds, como sabes, el gerundio es cuando tienes el ing, infinitivo, pues es cuando no tienes el ing. But let's check this reading because they can help us a lot. It says, what's the most touching ad you've ever seen? There's a billboard for a smartphone that I see every day on my way to work. It shows this elderly woman crying as she sees her grandkids on her phone. I'm not an emotional guy, but that ad chokes me up. It makes me think about my mom back in Los Angeles. Once in a while, we all need to be reminded about the important things in life. And here you have the passive voice, to be reminded. Then we have, what's the funniest that you ever seen? There's this one really funny TV commercial for a language school. This cat puts his head into a bowl with a goldfish swimming in it, but the fish barks like a dog and scares the cat away. Then the words learn another language appear on the screen. It always cracks me up when I see it. I enjoy having my day brightened with a little ladder, even if it's just from an ad. Having my day brightened. Aquí tienes otra vez passive voice, ¿no? What's the most annoying ad you've ever seen? That would be the toothpaste and they keep playing on my favorite music station. It's loud and obnoxious, and it absolutely drives me crazy. It gets on my nerves to be forced, ser forzada para ser forzada, to listen to a dumb ad over and over again when I'm just trying to listen to music. And finally, what's the most interesting ad you've ever seen? Well, I know one that comes pretty close. There's this company here that produces sports drinks. They had a commercial with these amazing acrobats. The things they did just blew me away. I don't usually like TV commercials, but I don't mind being entertained by a good one. So, as you can see, some of them in some of the passive voice here, we have two types. Listen, or sorry, check. We have being, and then we have the verb in the past participle, being entertained. Also, for example, having brightened, ing in past participle. And then we have the to be, which is infinitive, to be reminded, to be forced. What is the common thing here with this passive voice? Is that all of them are using, obviously, the past participle, right? Forced, or some of them are not verbs, some of them are also adjectives. Entertained, brightened, and reminded, okay? And you can choose to use to be or being or having, okay? So that's what we're going to be using here. Some important expressions on the text is like, it blows me away, it drives me crazy, I loved it. It gets on my nerves, that has a negative connotation, right? It's like, I can't stand it. It cracks me up, the same, and it chokes me up. It chokes me up, he used it. It's like, it really makes me feel like emotional, okay? So it says, the grammar says this: use a passive form of a gerund or an infinitive to focus on an action, okay, instead of who performed the action. So we're going to be focusing on the action. So we have, for example, I enjoy being entertained. I resent being forced. I appreciate not being treated like my child. So we are focusing on the action. And that's the difference. So you're going to use being and past participle when you want to focus on the action. And you're going to use to be with the past participle when you want to focus used to be in a past participle to form a passive infinitive, okay? Is also focusing on the action, to be told, to be remembered, not to be asked. So you can choose both. It's just they are formed in two different ways, okay? Entonces, let's try to use a different example. This is something personal. I resent being no, wait, I have a better one. I resent not being paid to for working extra hours when I'm working extra hours. I resent not being paid when I'm working extra hours. Something better, something positive maybe. I enjoy being um listened when I'm sad, right? Or I like being listened when I'm sad. I like being listened by my husband when I'm sad. And we can choose the other form as well. For example, the example here says, I don't expect to be told the truth by advertisers. Advertisers want their products to be remembered. I was disappointed not to be asked to participate in the survey. So what I could say that is personal is, I was happy to be asked to work as a teacher. I don't expect to be awarded like the teacher of the year, okay? So in Spanish, this is like when you say, no espero ser admirada, no es, me sentí decepcionada de no ser tenida en cuenta, me gusta o disfruto ser entretenida por, no me gusta cuando no me gusta ser forzada a. So this is kind of what we use in Spanish, okay? So the important here is obviously to use the past participle, okay? And this is very important here. Some verbs are followed by gerunds, some by infinitives, and some by either. So this is something we should follow, right? Like the rules, which verbs we are going to use with gerunds, which verbs we're going to use by infinitives, or by either. And also certain adjectives are often followed by infinitives. Look, it says, see page A3 in the appendices for a complete list. So we have a list that you can check in your book in A3, page A3. But as I was saying, the most important here is that, I mean, we just saw the grammar, right? That's what it is about, this part of the book. And yet, as I always say in every class that I share in every single one of these lessons, is that to make it even easier for you, you really need to get more involved, right? Listen to more podcasts, listen to more music in English, All right, so all of these things can really help you to feel more comfortable with this, because this is the explanation from the book, which is great and it's true, right? But it becomes part of us when we are using it daily or constantly. That's when it stops being weird or uncomfortable, okay? So we are going to go over this last part of the vocabulary because we are talking about buying and shopping. So ways to persuade, it says endorse, promote, imply, or prove. So endorse means to recommend a product in exchange for payment. Promote was obviously is to make sure people know about a new product. Imply is when suggests that something is true and without saying it directly or directly. Prove is to show that something is definitely true. So we're going to be reading this text because here we're going to find the grammar we just used, okay, into a more real context. So it says, compulsive shopping, the real cost. Let's follow with this. It says, just in the last century, the way, wait, let me change this. Okay, here we go. Just in the last century, the way in which we consume material goods has shifted radically. For our grandparents and some of our parents, shopping meant buying provisions to satisfy physical needs. Today, in addition to buying necessities, we shop to indulge ourselves in luxuries. Attention, or be careful here because a lot of people say luxuries. Lux. No, it's not Spanish. So this X is pronounced like Z. Luxuries, not luxuries. Okay, luxuries. High-priced gym, shoes, or the latest, most high-tech entertainment system. And we shop for the sheer fun of it. Most of us acquire continuously everything from groceries to cars, from clothing to toiletries, from home furnishings to sporting equipment. And through our acquisitions, we express a sense of identity, taste, and lifestyle. But some people go overboard. Como que se pasan. Their spending becomes excessive and often carries troubling consequences. Some people cannot resist the temptation, and very often they buy merely to acquire. This type of impulsive buying can become so obsessive that people find themselves in considerable financial debt and psychological distress. Remember that you don't read the B, okay? Debt. Sorry. A recent study suggests that extreme impulse buying is on the increase, affecting an estimated 5 to 10% of the adult population in many countries. We tend to define ourselves by the way we buy and have. This often affects how we feel as well. For many, buying things on impulse is a way of avoiding or hiding feelings of anxiety and loneliness. However, shopping as a way of dealing with internal distress is seldom effective for long. In fact, research suggests that people who consider shopping to be a priority in their lives tend to experience more anxiety and depression, as well as a lower level of well-being than those who don't. The long and short of it is this: you can't buy happiness. This was interesting and kind of obvious, right? Tips for controlling impulsive buying. Here you have some tips you can check on your books. So it has a lot of vocabulary, right? To indulge ourselves, go overboard, resist the temptation, impulsive buying, get the urge, overspending, and splurge on. So this is some vocabulary that you can use related to shop or buying stuff, okay? You have more quotes here related to this. This is actually a very interesting a self-quiz. Maybe you could do it. Okay. So yeah, this is where we're going. We were checking on this unit. So remember that the easiest way is to, yeah, check your book, check the grammar, try to do the exercises that you have of this unit on your workbook. You can ask your teacher about it, but the most important thing is to get used to it by natural immersion, which means listening, reading, and watching more films, movies, series, TikTok, social media in English. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being here on this small lesson, and I'll see you next time. Bye.